In this example, a study by researchers at the University of Colorado addressed the question of whether the average internet user remained online for greater than 2 hours. The results of the study appeared in an article in Wired magazine. Among other data, the researchers obtained the internet browsing habits of U.S. adults aged 25 to 50. So suppose you want to use this data to decide whether the average time spent browsing websites online is greater than 2 hours. How should we state the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis? The null hypothesis is a statement that we can test, and we always represent it using H subscript 0. In that null hypothesis, we're stating that there is in fact a mean that we can compare everything else against. And so we're going to say that we're claiming that 2 hours is as much time as adults aged 25 to 50 spend browsing the internet at any one sitting. So what's the alternative? The alternative hypothesis is based on what we see in the reading, and we want to decide whether or not the average time spent browsing on the websites is greater than 2 hours. When we see that statement, that means that we're going to use a one-tailed test that tells us that our actual population mean will be greater than 2 hours. How do we know that it's anything different? Well, the statements could be less than 2 hours, in which case we would use less than, right, if we'd seen the statement less than. Or if there was no statement as to whether we wanted to call it greater than or less than, right? If there's no indication, then you're going to default, let me write that out, indication. If there's no indication in the problem whether it's less than or greater than, assume we mean not equal to. But in this case, our alternative hypothesis would be that the population mean has an average of greater than 2 hours web browsing.